1.5s are so much weirder than you think. It turns out that we've been sleeping on... Wait a sec. Didn't I shoot this video already? Yeah, remember how earlier this year I shot that video all about all the wild stuff with 1.5s that we'd somehow missed for all these years? Well, it turns out the rabbit hole goes deeper yet. Come on, I'll show you. Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today, those brains are going to get quite a workout. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow DNA, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. And a special thanks to the first non-business friend of the channel, Johnny Howard. Thanks so much for your support, Johnny. Several months ago, I had an epiphany after I uploaded a video on what I considered to be a butterfly 1.5. A poi spinner from South Africa asked whether that trick could truly be considered to be working in butterfly. And the answer was, yeah, kind of. But in answering that question, I discovered something I hadn't expected. That 1.5s turn out to be a variation on caps, and that there were variations on them that no one had ever seen before. I posted my findings and got a whole lot more people digging into this bizarrely neglected corner of the poi world. And got a long Facebook comment on that video that sent me on another deep dive. See, in that previous video, I'd used a technique that I'd learned more than a decade ago for contracting and expanding flowers in and out of linear isolations to get a variety of different shapes and forms out of them. I'd discovered that the venerable 1.5 could yield some very bizarre shapes if you expanded out its hand path to a full circle instead of just a line. But there was still something I was missing. I'll include a clip from my previous video and see if you can catch what I'm talking about. Here's the basic structure of a single 1.5. Could be a weave or a butterfly, doesn't really matter. The structure is still the same, a beat of static spin on bottom and a pendulum across the top. So let's see what happens when I expand out from the line to a circle with my hand. First, I'm going to do this by having my hand travel with the poi through the static spin. The result? Well, this doesn't actually look all that different from the 1.5 that we started with. Alright, now what happens if we open up that line to a circle going the opposite way? Starting with our linear 1.5, I open up the circle going the opposite way and whoa! What just happened? It looks like a point isolation across the top and the bottom half of a box mode 4-petal anti-spin flower across the bottom. Did you catch it? Notice how that line was vertical? Well, what if I told you that we could take it down to a horizontal line instead and turn both of our 1.5 patterns completely inside out? Here's the basic idea. You can think of those first two 1.5 patterns I showed off in my last video on this topic as kind of being transformations of each other across a vertical axis. The movement of the poi is identical, 2 downbeats and a single upbeat. All I'm doing is switching up whether the poi is moving in the same direction or the opposite direction that the hand is on the bottom. Well, what if I were to reflect either pattern across a horizontal axis instead? What this means is that my upbeat will now appear on the top of the pattern rather than on the bottom, and the top will no longer be a point isolation or a pendulum. To see this in action, let's start with the classic in-spin 1.5 pattern and turn it inside out across that horizontal axis. The result? This is actually a pattern I've run across before years ago, but that I never thought of as being a 1.5. It involves performing a 4-petal anti-spin flower across the top and a standard pendulum or extendulum across the bottom. Pretty cool. Not exactly revolutionary, but it is helpful to know that the two patterns are related. But what about that funky anti-spin 1.5 pattern that surprised me so much in the last video? Once again, we'll turn it inside out by reflecting it across a horizontal axis, and the result is... Wait, what even is that? It's got a 2-petal in-spin flower going across the top with what looks like a straight linear isolation across the bottom. Wild! So interestingly enough, now that we have all 4 patterns, we can essentially explore how they all relate to each other. The man who pointed out that I'd missed this piece of the puzzle, Alien Jon, actually did a similar thing with unit circle patterns on his own YouTube channel back in the day. That kind of thinking was instrumental in my own approach, so I guess it's appropriate that he'd be the one to call it out. So let's take a look at those 4 patterns and how they relate. I'm actually just going to start in the middle with a single point because I don't think it's been remarked upon yet that this pattern can simply collapse down to this one point. From here, I expand out into a vertical line, resulting in the 1.5 that we all know and love, and expand out to the inspin side. Here, I get an expanded version of that 1.5 with half a 2-petal inspin on the bottom and a pendulum across the top. I then collapse it down to a horizontal line and get, well, something really funky to be sure. A linear isolation coupled with a pendulum as the hand moves back and forth. If I expand out from here to one of our new variations, I get that diamond anti-spin across the top and extendulum across the bottom version. From here, I collapse the hand path back down to a vertical line and get something that looks a little like a figure 8 maybe? It's curious, the opposite of the original 1.5 pattern with a pendulum through the bottom and a loop across the top. If we open back up to the other side of this pattern, we get our new curiosity, the in-spin flower across the top with the linear isolation on bottom. And no, I am not going to compare this pattern's appearance to anything. Moving on. For our final transformation, we collapse this pattern down to a horizontal line again, which looks exactly like our other horizontal line but switches which direction the hand is moving in for its pendulum and for its linear isolation. Finally, we expand down and find the variation that is half a box mode anti-spin and half a point isolation, and that completes all our variations. That was wild. There were at least 2 things in there that I've never seen before working through all of these different variations. Let's see them all again and take a look at some of the patterns that emerge. If I present these 4 variations as essentially corners of a box, there are some really interesting properties that emerge. We find anti-spin movements at opposite corners of the box and in-spin movements at the other 2 corners. In addition, we find pieces of every single variation on 3-beat flower patterns, from diamond and box anti-spins to 2-petal in-spins with both top, bottom, and side orientations. Plus every possible way that a poi can move in a half a beat relative to the hand for half a hand path. And I know, what you're really looking for here is to see each of them in action with a flesh and blood poi spinner performing them, so here you go. Here are those H-pedal in-spin 1.5s in Together Same. And here it is in Together Opposites. Here it is in Split Time Opposites. And here it is in Split Time Same Direction. And here are those diamond anti-spin 1.5s in Together Same. And here it is in Together Opposites. Here it is in Split Time Opposites. And here it is in Split Time Same Direction. Want to see more of these patterns as well as their hybrids and computer simulations? Those are all available as extras over on my Patreon. Go sign up and get access to them. I think we've reached the end of this rabbit hole. We shall see, right? Anyway, I just wanted to give a big shout out to Alien Jon for noticing that I'd solved only half of this puzzle and for steering me towards a more complete solution. You rock, dude. And for those of you out there watching, you now have so much more poi to go out and play with. Enjoy. Did you get anything out of this video? I really hope so, because my brain is tired at this point. If yours is too, please leave me a like and subscribe to help my channel grow and to help other people find this content. Real quick, I just wanted to throw out a huge thank you because this video would not be possible without the kind support of these wonderful people right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they, along with the people listed down in the description, help to make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. Do you like poi content? Do you like tutorials, flow sessions, and vlogs and flow arts culture? Consider signing up to support my work. I want to bring flow arts to the wider world and help people connect with their brains and their bodies through prop spinning. So help me do it. Head on over to patreon.com/DirectsFactorPoi and sign up. You can do that either by clicking on the card that just popped up on YouTube or by using the link down in the description. Not only will you be supporting this mission, but you'll also be able to get early access to all of my content, a vote in what content I produce in the future, and a host of other awesome rewards, such as getting a special weekly poi lesson delivered straight to your inbox that is available only to my supporters. So, Go give that a look, and please consider supporting this channel. Thank you in advance. Did I still miss something in this epic deep dive? Leave me a comment and let me know. It's been fun to work out this part of my brain again and make some Techpoi magic happen for the first time in a few years. Thank you so much for watching. I'll include links to a playlist of other videos I've done on Techpoi concepts down in the description, as well as up on screen if you're watching on YouTube. Be sure to get outside and flow today, and I'll see you with a new video on Friday. Peace.